So we got ourselves a little bit of an update coming in here from Ian Rapoport, who went on the Pat McAfee show and talked about the Trey Hendrickson situation. He says, I think that was by design, that everything went quiet. He made his point. I think it was received, very received. There has been some communication between the Bengals and Trey Hendrickson since that interview, obviously when he went on the Pat McAfee show. Since the draft, there has been talks. Cincinnati picked Shamar Stewart off the edge, which, if we're being honest, Shamar Stewart, based on what I've seen and what people are saying, is he's very similar or going to be kind of the same role that Sam Hubbard filled. So it's not like Shamar Stewart would be, in theory, a replacement or, the future replacement of Trey Hendrickson. He's going to always be on the opposite side of Trey, or if we lose Trey, he'd be on the opposite side of whoever we end up replacing Trey with. So it's not like, Shamar Stewart is the future of the position for us. He's just going to be on the opposite side of Trey no matter what. He does say here, now I would never rule out a trade because it's the NFL, and as we learned yesterday, trades could always happen literally at any moment. He's talking about, obviously, the George Pickens trade, which I think for the most part, Steelers fans thought that they were going to eventually move on from George Pickens. In the end, was the smartest move for the Steelers? Probably not, because they would have got a compensatory pick anyway for George Pickens. But, you want to move on from a guy, and that's just pretty much how it is. But I think they want to keep him. I think they're going to make moves toward. I think they're going to make moves toward. They haven't yet. The Bengals sometimes function maybe differently, maybe a little slower than other organizations, but they want to keep him and do a deal. Well, I wouldn't say we move slowly. We procrastinate. We put things off and hope that we don't have to worry about them again. But reality-wise, that's just kind of how life goes. You eventually have to worry about it again. You eventually have to come back to it. And that's kind of what we do. It is what it is. Our front office is not the greatest when it comes to working out contracts. And I think there's also, again, as said many times, the situation with Trey is also muddy because we gave him a 2-year contract. His agent agreed to it. His agent said, yes, that's a perfect contract. And then after 6 or 7 months, said he wanted a new contract. So there's a lot. This is such a deep-rooted issue right now with Trey and with the Bengals that I just hope something gets done. I really do. I don't think we're going to trade him. I don't think he's going anywhere. Now there's a lot of reports that he might sit out the season and not play the season because of the situation. And it is what it is at the end of the day. The reason why I wanted him signed more than anything is even more than just the fact of, well, yes, he's a great player and I want him on the team for the foreseeable future. I just don't want anything holding us back. I don't want anything stopping us or, distracting us from winning a Super Bowl this year. So that's kind of how I look at it with the Trey Hendrickson situation is it's just another distraction at this point. And I feel like it's worth more to get him under contract, get this contract over with and done with, than it is just, not having him on contract. It's almost to a point now where it's like you kind of value what's more valuable, going through all this crap back and forth and, dealing with, oh, he's going to sit out, he's not going to sit out. This guy, he wants to get paid. He wants this much. He doesn't want this much. He goes on Pat McAfee's show. Katie Blackburn says stuff. Is it really worth the time and energy and all the fuss over that? Or is it worth it just to give him more money, work out a contract, maybe give him more than you want to give him, just so we can get the situation done with? And I know the Bengals front office, they work on principle. So it's kind of how they operate. So, they're to a degree, the motto, cut off your face to spite your nose, That's kind of how the Bengals are. They're very principle-based. So the whole idea is, well, if we give in to Trey here, then another player is going to put us in the same situation. And then we're setting a principle moving forward that every player can sign a 2-year contract, not honor a 2-year contract, and then automatically get another contract. And it's just going to get this forever carousel. And that's, I think, what they're also worried about. And they're very stubborn. So it's, again, there's forever back and forth. At some point, I feel like you got to look at what's like the risk and reward here. This is more than just, okay, player wants money, sign player. This is now at a point where it's like, okay, this is just causing too much issues. And it's not worth the money. Like, maybe you save a couple million per year, from what he wants to what you want to give. I think based on what I was saying, we rumored wise, we have offered him $30 million. He wants 32 to 35. So the question is, let's say hypothetical. Let's live in that hypothetical universe, okay? Let's say that those are the numbers. Is all this stuff worth that $5 million a year? Like, is it worth it to just say, okay, that $5 million a year, you can have it, whatever. Let's just move on. Let's just get this offseason going. Let's stop worrying about the stupid contract, and let's just move on here. You're the last guy we have to sign. You're the last guy on the deal. Just get it over with. Rip the Band-Aid off, and let's just stop worrying about this. Or, again, do you say, okay, if we do that, then, again, another player in the future is going to do the same thing to us. And then we're going to show that we'll allow it to happen because we allowed it to happen with Trey. I don't know. I just want this over with. That's how I look at it. At this point, I know it's more than just like $5 million per year in the end. He probably also wants more guarantees. He probably wants also other numbers as well. It's never as simple as, well, just give him $5 million more. In reality, there's a whole complicated mess when it comes to these contracts. If it was just like, hey, just add another 0 to the end of that, I'm sure they probably would have done that by now. But it's a back and forth. And as Katie said, she said that he needs to be happy with what they offered him. Which, again, when I hear those words, I think this is principle-based. This is not about money. This is about principle. This is about you need to work with us. And if we don't feel like you're working with us, you're not with us, you're against us. And that's a deep-rooted issue when it comes to Bengals front office. They take a lot of things personal. It's not always a straightforward business with them, but it is what it is. Anyway, guys, tell me down below your thoughts and opinions. Today is rookie minicamp, so it should be fun. See you guys next one, though.